The members in a giant cooperative, the distance
POI,
between
please.
the... Yes, please.
Which
For
one?
the first speaker.
Ladies and gentlemen, like the background that I told you before, we still experiencing the inequality of our economy in Indonesia. My simple question is like, what is your suggestion to solve inequality problem that exists in Indonesia?
Okay, thank you, my friend. So, ladies and gentlemen, we as the opposition team, we think that we don't reject the government help for for this cooperative, but we reject too much control. Real economy power should come from the small cooperative that, come from the small, a local cooperative that understand about their own people, not a single giant organization run from the top. Ladies and gentlemen, okay, thank you. Let me go back to my argument. Ladies and gentlemen, in a giant cooperative, a distance between the central management in Jakarta and the members in small villages is too far. This information gap makes it easy for local elites to manipulate the system. Without a perfect monitoring system, which Indonesia currently lacks, this program is just a recipe for another corruption scandal. Ladies and gentlemen, furthermore, we must protect the independence for our exciting cooperative. Ladies and gentlemen, the spirit of a cooperative is from the members by an unfair environment. Ladies and gentlemen, a giant organization often misses local needs of people. What works in Papua might not always work in Java. Many small cooperatives are more flexible and have a social bond with their members. Ladies and gentlemen, remember that we don't reject the government help, but we reject too much control. It's a biggest target for corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's all my speech. Thank you.
Government team about effort. It is about access and campaign designed to fix it. Good day, ladies and gentlemen, the honorable judges, respected audience, timekeeper, and of course all beloved opponents from the opposition team. Today, I'm as the second speaker from the government team, absolutely and strongly agree with the opposition team. Ladies and gentlemen, the opposition team keep talking about small business left behind or is not reached to solve this problem. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know, KMP program aims to establish around 80,000 village cooperatives in Indonesia, so it means can be reached by anyone and they can control it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I think it's crystal clear. I will jump right into my argument, which is first, expanding economic access for rural communities. Ladies and gentlemen, the Koperasi Merah Putih programs aims to establish around 80,000 village cooperatives across Indonesia. And this, ladies and gentlemen, please keep in mind. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is because many rural communities previously excluded from formal banking system can now access capital and participate in economic activities, which directly reduce financial exclusion, which is one the root cause of inequality. Ladies and gentlemen, if we talk about the rural areas, there is a livelihoods. I will take an example like farmers. Ladies and gentlemen, many farmers sell their product to the middleman, but when Koperasi Merah Putih's access fail to the KMP. So it's mixed. And farmers produce, no thank you, and farmers produce more, and they sell their products to the cooperative, and they get profit and use it to buy things, no thank you. And other sales also get profit. So ladies and gentlemen, it means one money keeps moving to many people. So okay, I will continue. Yes, please.
Thank you, my friend. Cooperatives are usually small. How can small cooperative fix the big problem of economy inequality in a giant country like Indonesia?
So such a beautiful view, I think, from the opposition team. But ladies and gentlemen, what we stand in here to prove to all of you guys that Koperasi Merah Putih can solve this economic inequality problem in Indonesia, ladies and gentlemen. Because why? Like I talked previously, I'll take an example like farmers. Farmers often sell their product to the middleman, but when Koperasi Merah Putih access, they sell their product to the Koperasi Merah Putih, which is make an equality to Indonesia economic, ladies and gentlemen. So I will continue with my argument. My second argument is reducing the urban and rural economic gap. Ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia has long faced structural imbalance where economic growth is concentrated in urban areas which makes many rural areas of the lack of market access, investment, and even infrastructure, ladies and gentlemen. But with Koperasi Merah Putih, economic activity is decentralized. No, thank you. Allowing wealth to be generated and circulated within villages, narrowing the gap between rural and urban regions. Yes, please.
If the government stop giving subsidies, will Koperasi Merah Putih collapse immediately?
So, such a beautiful PI thing from the opposition team. But ladies and gentlemen, like I talked previously,